I have some questions about the capital campaign. What
I
attracted
was
you?
hoping that you would.
What attracted you to the plans that we articulated around the new building?
The thing that absolutely attracted me to it was the fact that the building was not about the parish. It wasn't just like we just need an extra space to house some things, or we want a nicer space, or any of that. It was the outreach that is built into the structure of it, both for the Newport community schools as well as feeding the homeless. And those are all things that are exceptionally important to me. I'm really, really, really into making sure that people have the educational opportunities that best suit their needs. And I think that we as a nation have done a poor job of that. I am a former post-secondary education administrator. And my most recent position before going to seminary was I was the director of student services at the Frank Lloyd Wright School of Architecture, which is housed both at Taliesin West and in Taliesin in Wisconsin. And so I have an appreciation for design that way. But before that, I got my start doing federal student aid in vocational schools for students who are learning how to do HVAC work, automotive work, motorcycle maintenance, things like that. And these are people that were never going to want to sit through a bunch of prerequisite, courses in college. And I think that it's a shame that we ask people to do that in some respects. Having a good, well-rounded liberal education is important for a lot of people, but not for everybody. And so the thing that really appealed to me was knowing that, this is a program that we'd be helping out, training people to be like electricians and things like that. And that is just tremendously important. Our nation needs to think differently about how we educate. And I think that this virus is also helping us consider some of that as well. The new design for the building I thought was great. It architecturally matches the area. One of the things that Frank Lloyd Wright really pushed on was making sure that the design of the building you were planning on putting up matches the environment in which it was supposed to live. And it's one that it kind of teases into that kind of Cape Cod look, but it also has everything that you need. And really, there's not any wasted space in it. It's just a particularly good design that I appreciated. So seeing all of that with the background that I have, both, tangentially working in an architectural school, as well as having been a facilities director as my first job out of college at the Student Union Building, Boise State University, was, just clear. Okay, I have skills that are important here, and ones that I can be of immediate use. In addition to the fact that I do have some fundraising in my background, even before being a priest. It's just part of the game being a priest. But before that, I also worked for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society as a fundraiser. So it's all these things just kind of combined into my thoughts as I looked at your profile. I didn't apply immediately. I was sitting there looking at it for a couple of weeks, and finally I got to the point where I think I might need to apply for that. And I showed it to Tanya, and she read through it. And she goes, "Oh yeah, that's you. You need to apply for that. They're looking for you." So that's all those things kind of working together brought me to the point where I was certain that this is the place that God was calling me.
So you don't have hesitancy joining a parish in the middle of a capital campaign?
Well, I think that you would be mad to say that there aren't always some anxieties about that, but I don't have any extreme worries about my ability to assist. No.
I was happy to hear you talk about the church itself and about the liturgy. As the coordinator of the servers, my team's going to be working with you every week. And I've noticed over the time that I've been doing this that different priests have different preferences on the altar. And also, as you certainly must know by now, our environment in the church is unusual, and we have that to deal with. You haven't experienced it physically yet, but you will. We do have a sound system, but we also have really pretty good acoustics. They're not that bad. There aren't many dead spots in the whole space. It's a lovely space. The altar is a bit on the awkward side. Things can get cramped and people run into one another. These things, bearing these things in mind, but also bearing in mind that you haven't actually experienced it yet. Do you have any general preferences in how you conduct the preparing of the feast at the altar?
So I've had the benefit of serving in several different churches, serving as presider in several different churches. And that's my attitude, by the way. Everybody, all the baptized gathered are the celebrants. I just happen to be the one that you've selected to preside over that, and that the church is set aside for that. So, but I have my first parish as a priest, St. John's in Georgetown, has what the insiders would call a low church attitude on the Eucharist. The current church I'm in is fairly broad. I've also served in a couple Anglo-Catholic parishes at request. But my preference, generally speaking, if given my druthers, I have to admit that I do like some trappings of some of the Catholicism from my background. But I am capable of matching the ethos of a place. And so for me, that's the important part. I think that every church, the way I like to say it is, every church has this angel. All right, the memory and the way that it has been painted in prayer over the time that it has existed. The church I'm in right now is only as old as I am. The structure, it was completed in 1974. The church I am going to is much older than that. You'll have your 300th anniversary of that building in 2026. So there is going to be a way that has been painted in the prayer of 3 centuries that I will be interested in feeling out and understanding before I realize and know what it is that I need to do as a priest there. And I think regardless of whether or not you've served in it once or twice, that will be a becoming with one another as we work through that. I love to put together customaries for churches. I did a new customary for the church I'm serving in. I did one for St. John. So the order of operations and kind of staging about where people might be so that things don't get jumbled up. And just to let you know, the altar at St. John's in Georgetown had a space of about 2 feet behind the table and the reredos that you had to kind of maneuver in. It's very tight. And we managed to make it work. So I have some experience in small places. The most interesting thing for me, of course, would be the fact that the pulpit is the center of the church, and how that works in terms of creating the presence of what we're doing in consecrating bread and wine into the body and blood of Christ in a way that would incorporate the entire consecrating body together. So I am really looking forward to figuring it out with you and really appreciating what has come before and understanding that. I'm not going to come in and say, nope, my way or the highway. Now I am going to figure out what the angel of the place tells us.
That's great, because there is an angel. I'm quite sure of it.
Yeah, I'm absolutely certain that there is.
And I had one other question quickly for you. Are you familiar with the Taizé services?
Yes.
Good. The reason I'm asking is because several rectors ago, a rector had gotten into Taizé, and he started doing I think it was perhaps once a month, a Taizé service. This was when the church was undergoing some renovations, and so we were having the service in the former Carr Rice house. Mm-hmm. And it drew not very many of our parishioners, sadly, but quite a few people from the community, especially young people, and people who were otherwise unchurched. Mm-hmm. And I was particularly intrigued by that, and I still think that it's an untapped possibility. I was hoping that perhaps you might be inclined to think of experimenting with that.
I'm inclined to experiment with a lot of things, and it's all those things that we will be doing together. So, as I've said before, I don't think that I'm a unicorn. I'm not going to be the magical creature that comes in and makes everything perfect immediately. But I will work very hard with everybody, very, very hard, to create all the avenues of entry that we possibly can. The biggest barrier to faith in modern America is how people can be invited in. And, if a Taizé service brings people in, I'm more than happy to do that. We will be rolling out a huge digital welcome mat, as I've already talked about, to let people know that, that big, beautiful church up there on the hill is not just a museum to colonialism. It is an active and moving ministry of people in your community who want you to join them. And so we'll be working through that. I personally love Taizé. It's one of my favorite modes for a communal prayer service, just the repetition and everything. And I like to do the bass parts. So yeah, it's something that we can definitely look at and see where that fits in what God is calling us to do together as a parish.
All right, Father Tim.
All right, Wayne.
I switched to the tablet, so now I can just really make everybody very ill.
How we doing?
Doing good. From the top. This is the speed round, I guess, right?
Oh, we're doing that now. Okay.
What is your all-time favorite book?
My all-time favorite book is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card.
Ender's Game.
Yes.
Okay. Cake or pie?
Oh, pie.
Very good. Correct. What is your pet peeve?
My pet peeve is people being late.
Uh-oh.
My wife's giggling from the other room right now.
I see a new car in my future.
What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
The best piece of advice I ever received was from my aunt on my wedding day, and she basically said, there are going to be times where you go to bed angry. Don't worry about it. Your marriage will survive.
What is your favorite sport?
My favorite sport's baseball.
Oh, what's your favorite baseball team?
The Red Sox? I grew up as a Cubs fan because the farm team near where I grew up was a Cubs team. But and then of course I've been following the D-backs being in Arizona. But the bottom line, my friends, is that I have never once in my life been, nor will I ever be, a fan of the damn Yankees.
All right. Well, this one is last one. What letter of the alphabet is most commonly dropped in words here in New England?
R.
You're prepared.
All right.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions? Or?
Father Tim, you've made a couple of references to music. I'd like to hear your musical background and interests.
You asking do I like heavy metal, or are we?
If that's the answer, that's the answer.
I do actually. No, I have a strong musical background. I grew up playing instruments. I do play guitar. I grew up playing brass instruments and was involved in choir and everything growing up, and also was in choirs in church. So it's important to me. I think that the actual gem of Anglicanism, the mode of Christianity that we as Episcopalians are heir to, is evensong, and our just our long history of hymnody and the influence that that's had on not just church music in general, but in music in its total is can't be understated. So I'm very interested in making sure that we have a good and strong music program. And I like to chant and stuff too. So the Reverend Tanya Watt.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Laughing when Tim said that his pet peeve is being late, because that is, it's a miracle that our marriage has worked, because we are on opposite ends of that spectrum.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, does anybody have any questions for Mother Tanya? We're putting you on a spot. I know that.
It is all
No,
right.
I mean, I'll just say that I think for both of you, it's obviously a big move, and whatever we can do as a community to welcome you and make you feel welcome and help you over any of the hurdles that exist in any move, just please let us help you with that.
We appreciate that very much.
It has been a lovely thing to feel welcomed already, and it has made my own nervousness. It has calmed me significantly to know that we're coming to such a wonderful community. We're really excited.
Any other questions? Do you want to speed round her? Because
we didn't prepare questions for her, but we could. What?
From the top, what is your favorite book?
Charlotte's Web.
that fits.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Correct answer.
Wait a second.
It's a good
There's no
marriage.
wrong
I always
answers.
get his frosting, so
That's
it's
true.
yeah, that balances things out.
Breakfast of Champions, cake and pie. Speaking personally. What is your pet peeve?
Being early.
I don't know. I'm not good at this. It's a good thing that you hired this guy.
I can tell you what several of her peeves are.
What's a pet peeve?
People telling her what to do.
Oh. That's residual from being a military brat,
Yeah.
Right. Very good. Over to you, boss.
All right. Well, no, we've got a new boss in town, Wayne. No. Anybody else have any questions, comments?
You're not speed rounding her with your questions, Tatiana?
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay, here it is. All right. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
When you get in a skunk fight, you come out stinking.
What's your favorite sport?
Baseball.
What's your favorite baseball team?
I came to baseball as an adult, and that's thanks to this guy. And baseball has broken my heart so much. I fall in love with a team, and then all the players get shuffled around. And so I am willing to settle down and to commit myself fully to the Sox.
All right.
Yay.
And what is the most beautiful place you've ever been to?
Iona. Yeah.
Scotland or Nova Scotia?
In Scotland.
Scotland.
It was
Wonderful.
stunning. I've never seen the ocean and those colors.
Yeah.
It was just a stunning place.
Yeah. All right.
My daughter.
No.
If you're on a road trip and you stop at the gas station, what do you get?
So I get something caffeinated. I get something hydrating. And peanut M&Ms and a bigger bag than is necessary for myself because he's eating most of them.
It's the peanuts. It's protein.
It is. Total justification. We're going to get along just fine.
Oh, and I don't know. She's standing here waggling and asking to say hi.
Oh.
This is Daisy.
This is Daisy.
Hello, Daisy.
Hey,
I just want to say that this is an incredible and humbling invitation from the community of Trinity Church. And I am beyond excited and also just thrilled to be coming to a community that has such a history of loving one another and of loving the broader area around it in New. And I look forward to writing the next chapter with you. May God bless you all. Even though we are not yet together, you are with me in my heart and in my prayers. And I look forward to the day where we break bread in the fabulous colonial church that you've been maintaining